You have to make sure you got a big bumper suit.
I mean, you appeared with a gentleman called David Baddiel, and he wrote an episode about you on the Baddiel syndrome, and you turned up or played a cameo in the show.
I did indeed. They invited me over. He said, well, I've written this episode, and it features Dean Friedman, and I thought, wow, I wonder whether Dean Friedman will play himself. And so I did. It was kind of ridiculous, but I had a great time, and it was a lot of fun, and it's on YouTube. If folks want to check it out, just type in Dean Friedman.
The Baddiel syndrome. Yeah, I mean the other thing is you've surprised the lovely Gabby Roslin. That's very nasty of you. They smuggled you onto the set of The Big Breakfast, because Gabby was a huge fan of you. Well, still is, I think. She still is a huge fan of you. And they had weeks of the Dean Friedman days on the show, and they dressed themselves up as yourself, and then smuggled you onto the set, and you jumped out of a box, joining Gabby for a version of Lucky Stars.
I did, and she was very good about it. I think she was terrified when I jumped out of the box.
Yeah, I think I would be.
But then she recovered, and she sang a lovely version of Lucky Stars with me, and she was a real good sport about it.
She's a lovely girl. She really is. She's been on British television for quite a few years now. She probably won't thank me for saying that, but never mind. The other thing is, I love this. I read this about you. You were introduced on TV by Britain's Prime Minister Harold Wilson on a TV show called VH1 called I Love the 70s.
It's true, and I don't know whether he was just reading the teleprompter or whether he was a huge Dean Friedman fan. It was never clear to me, but it's also on YouTube. All this stuff.
All this stuff's on YouTube. I found a lot of this stuff on YouTube, and it's quite interesting. I mean, the other was a few. They've got a few more yet. So the British punk band Half Man Half Biscuit, they wrote a song about you, and then. I'll say it. The Bastard Son of Dean. It was Dean Friedman. It was called, and you invited them to perform with you on A Baker's Tale.
Well, what happened is I was home in New York when a friend called and said that there was this best-selling EP out, as he described, claiming that the singer was my illegitimate son. Mm-hmm. And I was a little surprised to discover this, and I calculated that in order for that to be true, I would have had to have fathered him when I was 7 years old. Mm. So it made me laugh, and it's a funny song. Again, check it out on YouTube. But I decided that I would exact my revenge, which I did in a song called A Baker's Tale, where I tell the true tale of the dubious origins of one Nigel Blackwell, the lead singer-songwriter for Half Man, Half Biscuit, and explains how he became half a man and half a biscuit.
Yeah.
A sordid tale.
Great tale. I'm going through some of these great stories. You've had some great times over the years. I mean, Kenny Everett was once introduced you on his show, and he was hanging upside down in the TV studio whilst he introduced you. Kenny was some kind of maniacal genius, wasn't he?
He really was, and a really sweet guy.
Yeah, I was sadly missed. Yeah, the other. One of the other things I read about you once performed the duet Lucky Stars with somebody I know quite well, Janie Lee Grace, on Top of the Pops, but she was 8.5 months pregnant, but this must have been a few years ago.
It's true.
Because if it was her son, I know her son as well, and he's 18 now?
Well, something like that, and it was through the very clever use of different camera angles and dark clothing that... Her lovely condition was obscured somewhat.
So how did the meeting with Janie Lee Grace happen?
I was friends with someone that worked with her, and I got the invite to do Top of the Pops, and gave her a shout. Denise wasn't available, and so I reached out to Janie Lee and asked if she might be up for doing it, and she said sure, and we had a great time. It was a lot of fun, and she's a real sweet gal.
She is a lovely lady. I have the great pleasure of knowing her reasonably well, and her son as well, and because they live fairly close. They actually live in Hertfordshire, so I won't say too much more, but the other thing is you've got some great fans, including Lenny Henry and his wife Dawn, and I believe you flew over to celebrate Dawn's 50th birthday party.
Well, I was a surprise guest. She had accused Lenny of throwing out all her prized Dean Friedman albums when they moved house, although he denies it up and down. And I think to make up for it, he invited me over to surprise her for her birthday. And
that must be great.
They're both really sweet folks, and so I had a lot of fun doing it, and was grateful to entertain them.
They're both great legends of the sort of English comedy world. So Lenny from Tiswas, and of course Dawn from, I think she'll be remembered for The Vicar of Dibley Forever, so never mind.
Sure.
We mentioned Lucky Stars, you performed it with Janie, the lovely Janie, but you've also performed it with the Scottish falsetto sock puppets. Now that's got to be an interesting one.
Well, if you've never seen or heard the Scottish...
I've never heard of them, but I did look it up.
They're brilliant. They're just... I can't overstate how revolutionary they are as a performing pair of socks. And they just do brilliant work, and it was a great honor to be able to sing that classic duet with them. And they did a brilliant job. And if they're ever in town, the Scottish Falsetto Sock Puppet Theater, I definitely encourage folks to stop what you're doing, go see them perform, because there's nothing quite like them on the planet.
Yeah. Well, before I give everybody where they can actually come and see you perform live, I've got to ask you about this one, and then we'll play the song. Your next-door neighbours actually moved out of the neighbourhood after hearing you'd written a song off the album, which Squirrels in the Attic. This Squirrels in the Attic is quite an interesting album, and it was entitled Death to the Neighbours.
This is true. And apparently I've had reports from numerous people that if you play that particular track, Death to the Neighbours, on your stereo outside the window at full blast, there's a good chance that your neighbours will up and leave.
Well, anybody
it has its uses.
I'm going to play it in a few minutes when we say goodbye, so anybody who wants to get rid of their neighbours, turn the stereo up now and play this out the window. Anyway, Dean, they can see you. People can see you. You're coming to the area. You're only doing one show in the area. It's Sunday, the 12th of June. You're going to be at the Trestle Theatre in St Albans, which is a lovely venue. I've not been there, but I know a lot of people who've been there, and I understand the tickets are going very well. So it's going to be a sellout. So if anybody wants to come and see you, the tickets are available on the box office, which is 01727 850 950, and they can also check you out. You've got your own website like everybody else has in this world, and you can interact with the fans. It's www.deanfriedman.com, and you can get all the latest news on there, because you're doing a big tour. But that's the only show in the area that we cover. So
I don't know if it's near you. I'll also be in Epping at the St. John's School in Epping. All the dates are available.
All the dates are on the website. Yeah, there's an extensive tour anyhow. But I say the only date that people can see you very locally is St Albans at the Trestle Theatre. Beautiful theatre. Sunday the 12th.
Looking forward to it.
Sunday the 12th of June, which is next Sunday actually. And I know I'm going to play this song. Do you want to introduce it?
We were really frustrated by the people next door. Now, I have to stress that the song is dedicated to the neighbors to our right, our left. We get along fine with our neighbors on the left. They're really nice people, although they can be a little noisy at times. But the neighbors on the right are the inspiration for this next song, Death to the Neighbors.
Okay, thank you very much for your time today, Dean. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. All the best, and hope to see you at the gig.
Death to the neighbors, they don't deserve to live. This slimy, rotten mother bleeps, you can choose your expletive. Death to the neighbors, I hope they up and die. If they all expire in a fire, you won't see me cry. The kids are dirty, snot-nosed brats, they're spoiled through and through. I'm pretty sure they drowned our cat, it's just the kind of thing they do. They're evil and obnoxious, they're rotten to the core. The 3-year-old stuck his tongue out at me, bloody this means war. Death to the neighbors and their nasty little pup. He's always pooping on our lawn, they never pick it up. Death to the neighbors, they really gotta go. Blasting country music out the window on their stereo. The husband is a drunkard, abusive, mean and vile. He doesn't work, he's such a jerk, I'm sure he is a pedophile. I tell you what, his wife's a slut, an ugly one to boot. My idea of torture is to see her in a bathing suit. Death to the neighbors will never coexist. They have no morals, they're probably terrorists. Death to the neighbors, they're just a bunch of thugs. They always act suspicious. They're probably dealing drugs. They probably worship Satan, that evil prince of doom. Sacrificing virgins on an altar in their dining room. I know their hearts are evil. They are the devil's spawn. I speak the truth and here's the proof. Their leaves keep blowing on my lawn. Death to the neighbors, they live lives of sacrilege. They never clean their gutters. They never trim their hedge. Death to the neighbors, there's no room for compromise. There's something less than human, you can see it in their eyes. The bastard's got it coming, he'll get his just desserts. He sprained his ankle running. I hope it really hurts. I hope he dies of cancer or has a heart attack. He borrowed a cup of sugar once, never gave it back. Death to the neighbors, there's nothing to discuss. They cross the line this one last time. It's either them or us. Death to the neighbors, it can't come soon enough. No ifs, ands, or buts, I hate their guts, I cannot lie. I hope they die, their time will come, those miserable scum. Death to the neighbors.
Woke up and the toilet was overflowing. Must call the plumber. Realised the kids needed swimming lessons as it's all got out of control. Luckily the old windows gave out, so we all floated outside. Must get on to the glazers. And now the garden looks atrocious. Now what was the number for that landscaper?
Because you never know when a potential customer needs you, get yourself listed in your local flyer, the local business directory. Your local flyer, bringing businesses to your fingertips.
That was Death to the Neighbours from Dean Friedman, and it's time to meet my second guest. It is a comedian and writer, Mitch-Benn. Good morning, Mitch.
Morning.
How you doing, Mitch?
Oh, I'm doing all right, I think.
You're doing good. Well, that's...
Yeah, all this considered.
Yeah, well, every day above ground's always a bonus, I always say, but never mind. You're coming to the stables with your new show called Don't Believe a Word.
I am, yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
It's my skepticism show. I've been touring this show for a little while now. It began like the Edinburgh Festival the year before last, 2014. And it's just a show about skepticism, and all skepticism is not believing stuff until you think there's compelling evidence to accept that it's true. And that's literally all that means. What that implies, the show goes into some kind of detail about, and there's lots of jokes and songs and one sort of dance routine, which is the first one I've ever come up with for myself. And yeah, I've been doing this show for quite a while. I was going to be doing a different show this year, but there's still quite a lot of interest in this show. So I've decided to keep this one going for another year.
Yeah.
Maybe next year or so, something new.
Yeah, because a lot of people know you as a regular contributor, get my teeth organised, on the Now Show on BBC Radio 4. Yeah. That's where people...
If people know me for anything, that's me what they know.
That's probably, yeah, I know. And you're the voice of Elvis on Steve Wright in the Afternoon as well.
That's something that I've never officially owned up to, and I'm not about to now.
Ah, all right then. I'll tell you what, you probably...
That's something I've never officially acknowledged.
Okay.
I couldn't possibly comment on.
Oh, well, yeah. You probably sounded like Elvis does now. Never mind. I'm a big Elvis fan.
There you go, yeah.
Okay. So how did you first get started in comedy?
Oh, good God, that's a long and boring story. I first did stand-up when I was 21 years old. I was living in Montreal in Canada. I was in the middle of a modern languages degree at Edinburgh University. I've been living in Spain all year, working as a teacher. I had to spend that summer somewhere I could practice my French. At Edinburgh University, I used to do a lot of theatre, and in particular, I just got into the improv show, which is still going at Edinburgh University. It's called the Introverts now. Rather adorably, at the festival a couple of years ago, they flyed me. Looking at this flyer that's been handed to me by this, lovely 19-year-old, and I'm thinking, yeah, I was in this before you were born. But anyway, the guy who brought the improv show was a Canadian guy, and he put me in touch with his old improv buddies in Montreal. So I spent the whole summer hanging out in Montreal with a bunch of improvisers and comedians. And I did a bunch of open spots just because there was nothing else for me to do. And it went down really well. And then I kind of forgot all about it for about 3 years. Then got back into it when I was living in Edinburgh. Started my own comedy club in Edinburgh in about 95. Moved out to London in 96. I got the Now Show in 99. And it's been, fairly stagnant ever since.
Well, I don't know, comedy